Om Sarvadharmastapakastam Sarvadharmaswarupakah Acharyanam Mahacharyo Ramakrishna-Vivekananda Namaha. Om Lakshminada Samarambham Nada Yamuna Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Namaste Vanakkam. Today the auspicious Tithi Puja of both the Acharyas. One is Shankaracharya and there is Ramanuja. You have heard the talk on life and teachings of Shankaracharya before arati. Now this is the time that you have to listen to mostly, I think, teachings and here and there some life portions of Ramanujacharya will be dwelling, because you have been listening to these talks every year. His life and how, when he has born, where he has born, who is his guru, all those things. But I wanted to skip the conventional method and I take few incidents, very important incidents in his life, and what is the takeaway from those incidents, that's what I wanted to. So when you look at so many acharyas, let it be a Shankaracharya and let it be a Ramanujacharya and let it be a Madhvacharya, sometimes we do get the doubt, why these many acharyas? And above all, there is Acharya Namaha, Acharya Ramakrishna-Vivekananda Namaha. So these are all the things when we look at why these many acharyas come and trouble us, what kind of doctrine and what kind of message these people would give. Sri Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, Yogo Nasta Parantapa. Suppose someone comes and gives a new doctrine. After some time, this doctrine of what he has spoken, probably it will be diluted or the system itself changes actually. So that is where the new Acharya has to come and saturate the things. And when he has to saturate the things, the old doctrine will not work out there. So he has to come up with a new doctrine where everybody can be practiced. When you go back to the Shankaracharya, because just is a contemporary to Buddha, so he has to say something which is unique and which has to be practiced by everyone in those times. That's what we see, the Advaita, a non-dual mode of worshipping God, that there is no God will be there, you are the God. So I am the God, I am the Brahman. And so everybody used to realize their own self. And that is how the Advaita speaks about it. But in those days it is absolutely fine. And everybody is so nicely reading the scriptures in the Upanishad Bhashyas, which are taught and written by Shankaracharya. And after some time what happens, these doctrines seems to be very difficult to practice by one and all. So that is how another Acharya has to set foot on this earth again, bring these people into a spiritual path. Then the question arises, what is the new doctrine that Ramanuja Acharya has taught? What was the complexes and the intricacies that the Shankaracharya teachings had? Then when you just try to understand the complexes and the intricacies the teachings of Shankaracharya had, if you say, I am the Brahman, so even now also, if someone says you are the consciousness, you are the Brahman, this 3.5 cubits, the body, how can you call I am the Brahman? So maybe the 500 feet, the body, how can I call this Brahman? So everybody has their own weaknesses and all. And where the Brahman you talk about is a blemishless, is a purity and all. And the individual thinks that, he has some weaknesses. How can he or her calls himself or herself that he is a Brahman? And so this body is subject to birth and death. And the Brahman is imperishable. So how can you call it? It is a Brahman, I am the Brahman, he is a Brahman, she is a Brahman. So that is how the Shankaracharya's, the complexities of the doctrines of this philosophy, So in those days, it was very difficult to practice because you need to understand the time gap of between these two acharyas. It's not that, after the 1 year, this Ramanuja acharya came. Why it is difficult when during this period everybody practiced suddenly, why this much difficulty has come? No, it is not. That's a long gap. In this long gap, people were finding it difficult to practice this doctrine or philosophy that I am the Brahman because I have my own weaknesses. The body is subject to change, mind is subject to change, intellect is subject to change. How can I call that I am the Brahman? So how can you imagine that I am the beyond the body, mind and intellect? How can I get that idea? No, it is not. It is not correct. I can't say that because one acharya's doctrine is this. Then this Ramanuja acharya says, then something which will be applicable to all the people, which can be practiced by one and all, and which can be easily practiced. That kind of doctrine has to be told to the people. That is where another acharya has to come. That is how this acharya, the great acharya of we are celebrating, we are talking about the Ramanuja acharya. Swami Vivekananda says about the Ramanuja, his highest compassionate soul, because we listen to the story of the Goshti Purna story, so climbing the gopura of the temple then uttering this Panchakshari mantram. I'll come to that story. So that shows that even at the cost of so many people, they are getting to the Narayana Loka or the heaven. So let me go to the heaven. Doesn't matter at all. What a compassionate, because these acharyas possess this kind of qualities. Otherwise, they cannot be called acharyas. Even look at the Sri Ramakrishna's life also. He was going to the Devagar. There you found so many people, they don't even have food to take and they don't even have a proper dress. Then immediately Sri Ramakrishna said to Mother Nath, unless and until you give something to them, I will not move an inch from this place, because they are embodiment of compassion. So these people, that is why they are the acharyas. So now Ramanujacharya thought that this doctrine, where they are finding it some kind of complexes and intricacies, have to set such a way that everybody can be practiced. So that is why Ramanuja had to come to bring about the change, to propagate Visishtadvaita. So Dvaita, Advaita and Visishtadvaita. Dvaita means is to me and my God. Advaita means I am that Brahman, I am the God, Tattvamasi, all these things. Visishtadvaita means something where in between this Dvaita and Advaita. Because Visishtadvaita says, you cannot become the one with the Brahman. Maybe with one part you can say, I am the Amsha of the God only. You cannot be a Brahman. You cannot claim yourself, you are that God. You can be a part of Him, that's all. Or through the surrender also, you can be part of Him. You cannot claim yourself that you are the Brahman, you are the Atman, you are that Narayana. That is what their philosophy. And nothing of the nature of Abhava can stay in the domain of Bhava. That is also one thing. Say, for example, human being has some weaknesses when you say, then that is called the Abhava. That means lack of something. Bhava means something you have full of qualities. So he says, in the path of devotion, there is no discrimination, no caste restriction. Only matter is how much devotion you have to the God. That is the only thing. In the past, Sri Ramakrishna says, the devotees of God, and they don't have any caste system at all. They need not follow the caste, which caste he belongs to or she belongs to. They are devotees of the God. That is enough. Because all these distinctions, so simply he set aside. There is no such thing at all. Because in those days, you have to imagine that what kind of caste system was prevailing there. Very strong caste system in South India especially. And he come up with a new doctrine saying that there is no caste at all. And when you look at the Nirdasa, and there are some disciples of him, they don't even belong to the Brahmin caste at all. They are the non-Brahmins. He accepted them as his disciples. That is what the compassion, overflows it. There, you just go beyond the caste restrictions because the compassion is like that. So the bhava, I said, when there is completely, when you are attached to the bhava, there is no question of abhava, he says. The bhava means you are always blissful, you are peace, you are truth, You have a qualities called generosity, you have qualities called right character. These are the things, you are full of the bhava. When you have these qualities, there is no question of abhava, affliction, or you don't feel, I don't have peace of mind, and you don't even say narrow ideas. Narrow ideas will not be there, and also you never speak untruth and all. So Ramanuja's philosophy is that there is no abhava when you are filled with the bhava. That means these many qualities, when you have, automatically these things will go away. So that is why this bhakti marga, this path of devotion, will help you to realize your chosen deity. That is what is understanding. So now when it comes to as I said, Sri Ramakrishna also, so very often he says that, devotees of God, they need not to worry about the caste, which caste he or she belongs. And Ramanujacharya's parents, so Sri Perambudur is very near to our place, Chennai. So their parents were Keshavacharya and Kantimati. And in those days, the family members, the lineage or, siblings, the sons and daughters, the number of people used to be there. So then there are two incidents which I wanted to emphasize. One is related to the Goshti Purna and the Ramanujacharya incident. This is a very wonderful incident actually. And after the practicing this Vaishnava cult, there are some particular practices, he was doing it. Then somebody said, one of his gurus said that, you need to understand esoteric meanings of the esoteric mantras which are prescribed in the Vaishnava Shastra. Then the right person is Goshti Purna. So he went to the Goshti Purna and he went and he knocked at his door. There are two, one book says in one way, another book says in another way. So we look at both the versions. He says, who are you? Then immediately, I am the Ramanuja. Even Ramana Maharshi life also, you will come across this kind of incident. Who are you? The moment when he says, I am the Ramanuja, immediately Goshti Purna said, you leave that I and come. Because the I is the greatest obstacle in the path of spirituality. I. So that is the bigger I or the smaller I that we need to understand. Then immediately Ramanuja went back, and after doing spiritual discipline, again he came back and said that, who are you? Then immediately said, I the Ramanuja. Again the Goshti Purna says, you leave the I and come. So this is the one version actually. So they say that almost 18 times he just, going back and coming again, saying that, I am the Ramanuja. You just leave the I again, come. So 18 times it is a test actually. In those days, gurus used to test. Unless and until, these tests, if the Shishya has to pass the examination, then only they used to accept him or her as his disciple. There is another version also. So once he went to Goshti Purna and did pranam to the Goshti Purna, and Goshti Purna said, come and see me in another day. Then after 2-3 days, he went again, he did namaskaram to the Goshti Purna and said again, come on another day. Like this is 18 times. So it is a tremendous, terrible test. It is a test for our patience also. And also there is a reflection on it. Why God, the Guru is asking me to come again and again. Something I need to change, that idea. Because when the Rani Rasamani came to Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, and Sri Ramakrishna was singing for her some songs on the Mother Kali. Immediately she was thinking about the court cases and all. Sri Ramakrishna gave a big slap on her. Immediately she could realize that what she was doing the mistake. It's not that. In the same way also here, so Ramanuja asked, come again means, why Guru is asking me to come again and again? There may be some reason, or there may be some corrections in me. I need to correct myself. That was his idea. That is why even 18 times also. So he could go out and come, go out and come. Then after the 18 times, Guru's heart should melt naturally, because immediately the compassion overflows. Then he says, so to understand this esoteric meanings of the esoteric mantras, you need to have the purity. That is what the Ramanuja's understanding. When he was asking him to go back and come, he was understand. That's how his understanding is going on. No. There must be some. I'm lacking some purity. I need to purify my mind. I need to purify my body. That is why Guru is asking me to come and again. then, then the purity of the mind is very, very important to understand. So you'll be able to know afterwards that He is the Savior of all humanity. Unless and until we have the purity of the mind, the God which we are worshipping, we don't understand He is the Savior of all of us. Actually, that prapatti or the devotion, we pour out our heart and soul when you have a proper purity only. So then immediately the Goshti Purna said, okay, all right, I will teach the meanings of the esoteric mantras. And his joy was boundless, was his joy. Then you can see that Ramanuja, because Upanishad says, when you approach the Guru, he says, you have to keep aside all your things and Shrotriyam, Brahmanistam, Samitpani, all these things, you have to take the Samitpani. So, Pariprashnena Sevaya, all this Bhagavad Gita, all these slokas, they talk about how you need to approach. That is how we approach the Guru. Then he went and approached the Guru, accepted, okay, I will teach the meanings of the Sutrika mantras. Then the Ramanuja's, his joy was boundless and, his face was effulgent beauty. And immediately he taught the mantra. This mantra is a very powerful mantra. And you should not teach to anyone. Even if you teach this mantra, you will go to the Naraka, hell. Are you ready? This is most powerful because in those days, the knowledge, they don't want to disseminate or, they don't want to distribute the knowledge. Even nowadays also we see, suppose you are experts in one particular art. You don't want to teach the entire thing what you have learned. They keep some secrets, small tidbits they don't want to teach, Even we see also in our institutions also, they don't want to teach. So much difficulty we have learned, we have spent these many years, these are the small things we have to keep it is for us. In the same way also, this Narayana mantra is nowadays we listen in YouTube and all, Om Namo Narayana. In those days, the very few people, Goshti Purna, even Ramanuja also has to cry for getting this name. And, he went and the moment he uttered this Om Namo Narayanaya, then the Guru is ripened, the disciple is ever ready to receive the Guru's grace and the name. Actually, the preparation is very much needed actually. In those days also, if you want to learn something, Gurus will not accept so easily. The yogyata irika avarika, the patta irika illiya alla kepanga. Avarkata yogyata irika is eligible candidate to receive this in abdicateda aparanda, then only they will accept him as his disciple. In the same way also, because already 18 times you just go and come, by then already he has prepared himself such a way that, he is eligible a disciple. It's not only disciple to learn the Shastra, it is something uniqueness. He such a way he has molded himself, purity, and the face was beaming with joy. You can see bliss in him because he's ready, he's a ripened disciple. Immediately the moment he uttered the Om Namo Narayanaya. So we also have taken initiation, right? When the Guru uttered that our mantra, our chosen deity, how many of us, we felt that kind of bliss, or how many of us we felt that kind of joy? Very few people will be there because we have not prepared that much. Whereas when it comes to the Ramanuja's life, he has prepared so well that the moment the Panchakshari mantra was uttered, he could see that, he's already realized the Paramatma. That's all. Then he was returning, the moment he came to the sanctum, he just crossed the sanctum sanctorium and he came to the place of the Gopura where the first entrance. Then immediately there was some feeling that, this Acharya's compassion is something different, right? Guru told me that, this mantra is so powerful, whoever listens, they will attain the mukti. That's all. Then whoever utters this mantra without permission of the Guru, they will go to the Naraka. Then immediately he put this self, his lower self aside. If anybody listens, they will go to the Swargaloka or they will attain the liberation. Then I will tell this mantra. Immediately he climbed the Gopuram. And come all of you, I am going to teach a mantra where by repeating it you will attain the moksha, liberation. Come, you all these difficulties, So all the doubts will vanish. Vidyate hrudayagrandhi chidyante sarvasamshaya. All these doubts and miseries where you can go beyond all those things. Somebody says, what do you gain by after getting liberation? There is only one thing actually. So, what is that, So, Paramananda Praptischa. Atyantika Dukkha Nivritti Paramananda Praptischa. Because everybody should remember this point. What will I gain after attaining liberation? This is what has happened. So, you just go beyond all the miseries, there will not be any misery at all. Not be like, will be there, but you just go beyond all those things. So, Atyantika Dukkha Nivritti Paramananda Praptischa. That's what you are going to gain by uttering this Panchakshari mantra. Come, all of you come. So, everybody rush and just, they were standing. So, repeat this mantra. By repeating this mantra, you will attain the mukti. Then everybody repeated. By then, Goshti Purna came to know and rush. What you have done, I told you not to utter this mantra, you will go to hell. Then the Ramanuja, there's no change in his face. Sir, even these many people attain the liberation. These many people attain the liberation and mukti. If I am a single person, if I am go to hell, what does it matter? Let them go to Narayana Samrajyam, Narayana Sayujyam, let them go. I am just ready to go to Narakam. Then the Guru, of course, initially, then he was scolding. But slowly the realization has come upon him and says, what a idea, what a marvelous compassion you have. Then immediately Goshti Purna surrendered at the feet of the Ramanuja and tells, you accept me as your disciple. And there is an interesting beauty in this incident is, 18 times when he was sent out, 18 lessons he has learned. 18 lessons. This is something is very wonderful actually. Now, they're always, so suppose if you have not prepared the class, so we'll have to find out some means how you can spend your time. So 1 hour or 45 minutes. So what are the 18 lessons? Because we never talk about, he was sent out 18 times. What are the lessons he has learned? So everything here in the Ramanuja's philosophy, Vishishtadvaita, so what is that I and mine? Sri Ramakrishna also says, I and mine are the greatest obstacles in the path of spirituality. So every time Sri Ramanuja visited Goshti Purna in Tirukuchur, Goshti Purna imparted a priceless message. It's not that Maunam Vyakya, it is not something he was telling. It's only just go out. Come again means, something is happening. Maunam Vyakya Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvanam. Varshistante Vasatushi Ganayiravrutam Brahmanistam. Acharyendram Chinmudramanandam. This is what Dakshinamurti Stotra says. Mauna Vyakya is just not uttering any words itself, some kind of message will take place. That is how it is happening every time. Just come again means something is happening there. The first thing is, if there is a desire for moksha, interest in samsara is to be given up. If you really are seeking for a moksha, samsara means is not that giving up everything. Samsara means, you have a thorough check. You need to come out from the whirlpool of this birth and death, not having any attachment. So Sri Ramakrishna says, so like a worm, small snakes. So they will be in the mud always, but the mud will not stick to that. In the mud, and if interest in samsara is given up, then the sense of I and mine is given up. Or link how he has learned all these things. It's only Mauna Vyakya only, the silence only. Just go again. After some time, you come means, one point, something in transmission is happening without any sound. That's all. Then, if the sense of I and my is given up, the identification with the body is given up. That's all. Because the I vechidana and the body and soul is all on the day. The moment it goes, the identification goes, then automatically the identification with the body also is given up. Then if the Atma Jnana is gained, it would result in giving up the delusive attachment towards sense enjoyments. Because you always attach to the Narayana only. Your attachment, your thought, man, muk, everything, body, mind, soul, everything attached to the Narayana only. Then why you attach to this body at all? You don't worry about this 3.5 cubits body, what is there. Of course, we take care of this body. It doesn't mean that when you get a fever, you will not go to your doctor or you will not take medicine and all. But the highest always, the mind is always dwelling in the Narayana. If the delusive attachment towards sense enjoyments is given up, the taste for the divine arises. Is all inversely proportional. This is given up, that will come. This you given up, that will come. In the same here also you say, if the delusive attachment towards sense enjoyment is given up, the taste for the divine arises. If the taste for the divine arises, what will happen? It would result in giving up taste for the worldly things. Because something, is suppose you present a necklace, golden necklace to your daughter, and she likes so much so, she doesn't want to give that golden necklace to anyone. What is the way out to take that golden necklace from her? Then you have to give the diamond necklace and compare. This golden necklace is not that much costly. This diamond necklace is much costlier than the golden necklace. Then will you give up this golden necklace? And then if you give, she will give up. In the same way also, if the taste for the divine arises, it would result in giving up taste for worldly things. So name ruchi vanduchen vechukungo. Then you just by repeating the God's name, you will be enjoying. You are getting so much joy. So 10,000 times repeat panambodu, you are experiencing that bliss. Then why you are worrying about see the cinema and all? You don't enjoy it at all. So if the taste for worldly things is given up, the understanding that one is dependent on God is gained. You are more and more dependent because automatically the prapatti will come, saranagati will come. If the understanding that one is dependent on God is gained, artha, kama, raga and dvesha would disappear. So every connection, if artha, kama, raga, dvesha disappear, Sri Vaishnava Tattva, understanding that all the souls are Lord's, is attained. If the Sri Vaishnava Tattva is attained, the company of Sattvic people will be gained. So inherently always the Sattvic people only will be there. You love to have the company of holy people. If the company of Sattvic people be gained, the Bhagavan Sambandha, connection with the devotees of the Lord, will establish. Always we want to in the company of the devotees of the Lord. If the Bhagavata Sambandha, connection with the devotees of the Lord is established, Bhagavat Sambandha, connection with the Lord himself would be established. Because in Vaishnava tradition, the Bhagavan, Bhagavata, these all Sri Ramakrishna says, Bhakta, Bhagavan, Bhagavatam. So for all the three, they give a lot of importance. Even the Vaishnava Seva also is highly appreciated actually. So not only in the Vaishnava tradition, even any tradition also, even the Shaiva tradition also, serving the devotees is considered to be highest service. When you see the Kapaleshwar Charity Festival, someone who is pulling the chariot, so people will go and fan them because they are doing the service. And that is why I am serving the devotees, devotees of the Lord. This tradition from the Ramakrishna time onwards, it is coming. When the Ramakrishna was here, when the Kapaleshwar Theru festival was going on, he himself used to pull the chariot and he himself used to fan the devotees who is pulling the chariot. Because always in every tradition, people who are serving the Lord, serving those devotees, considered to be the highest. So that is what we see. And if the distaste in seeking utility in non-divine things arise, the understanding that one is a servant to the Lord gained. If the understanding that one is a servant to the Lord gained, one would completely surrender to him. The dasa idea comes up automatically. Dasa. So there is a story, dasa. So two people were living in one room. So then one is completely following the Visishtadvaita, another is completely following, so Advaita. So he has written Soham. Soham means Sahaham, I am he. Then immediately the one who is following Visishtadvaita, Da he added. Dasoham. That means I am surrendered to you. Then the Dasoham added, then immediately that person, added Sa. Sada Soham, always I am he only. Then immediately that person, another Da added, Dasada Soham. I am the servant of the Lord. Dasada Soham. So this struggle will be going on always. But Sri Ramakrishna says, whether you follow the Advaita, you follow the Advaita, you follow the Visishta Advaita, the end point is one and the same only. Don't fight it. If the understanding that one is a servant to the Lord is gained, one would completely surrender to Him. That's all. Only he who completely surrenders to Him become a qualified seeker, gaining the grace of the Guru, receiving the meaning of the mantra. Only such a qualified seeker is eligible to get a meaning of Ashtakshari mantra. That means these 18 things he practiced. Now he understood that he is eligible person to receive that Ashtakshari mantra. Om Namo Narayanaya. With so much confidence, he went prepared, completely prepared, and he went and he received the not only the mantra, the power that is embodied in the mantra also. It is revealed to him, and he understood this much bliss just by uttering this much bliss I gained. So why should not think of the people who is simply lying, simply suffering, and countless miseries people are there. Let me give this mantra. Let them come out of this misery. Satyantika dukkha nivritti paramananda prapti. Let them gain this paramananda prapti and call all the people. And repeat this mantra. By repeating this mantra, you will gain the mukti, you will gain the liberation. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanaya. That's all. War. So that is how this incident. There is another incident. It's very important. For me, I felt it is very important. Then one more incident is Yamunacharya, who is in Srirangam. So Yamunacharya, actually Ramanuja wanted to meet Yamunacharya many times, but he could not, or there are difference of opinions. But one day what happened, so Mahapurna, one disciple of Yamunacharya, rushed to the Sri Peramburu and tell that Yamunacharya is calling, because Yamunacharya anyway is going to give up this body. But who will continue this Vaishnava tradition? Someone who is a competent person only can hold this post to maintain this Vaishnava tradition. But he felt that Ramanujacharya is the fittest person, so that immediately he sent Mahapurna to get him to the Sri Rangam. So then he was busy, he was doing Abhishekam to Varadaraja, something like that. Then immediately, this is the moment when he heard that news from the Mahapurna that an Yamunacharya is calling. Immediately, in those days, when we were reading, this was walking. How many months used to take for them to walk? It's not like they're going by flight and taking a bus and by car. It's not that. Every time walking only. Immediately, the moment when he heard that Yamunacharya is calling, immediately start walking. That's all. 3 months it took. Immediately, by then they reached the Sri Rangam. Then so much crowd was there. Then what happened? They came to know that Yamunacharya passed away. What is this Guru wanted me to come and see him, and before I reached and this person passed away? Then with so much difficulty he went and stood in front of the Yamunacharya. Then he could see that 3 fingers, they were like this only. Immediately he had a doubt that this is earlier also when he was alive also these fingers are like this, some flash, some revelation comes these people. And when he could see the Yamunacharya face, there is no black color, when the highest devotees, when they die, you see that, the radiant face, because they don't have worry about the Marana Bhayam Illame, they don't have the fear of death and all, because they are taking the God's name. The moment when you utter the Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishna, what is there for you? The fear of death should go away. That is why Anandama, while repeating the mantra, they give up the body. That is why devotees' face, when they die, or the Swamis, you see some kind of radiance in them. Even if you see the Belur Math also, when the Swamis passed away, some Swamis, they go and observe what is their facial expressions, how they are there and all. The one Swami Justanand used to say, whenever the Swami passes away, see, dekhicho, ki face ki anandam ache dekhicho, he used to tell. So in the same way also, when the Yamunacharya's face, beaming with joy, for them is no fear of death. So that is why Ramanuja said, see, look at his face, such a Narayana, the bliss is completely, you can see on his face. Then immediately could realize that, what are these three fingers? These three fingers are giving me some message, let me understand. Then immediately asked, when he was alive also these fingers were there. Then he said, I find that the three fingers of the Maharishi, because he used to call Maharishi Manacharyas, right hand are folded and clenched. Were they like that during his lifetime? And then immediately disciples said, no, it was not like this. Immediately, see these revelations, ordinary people cannot understand. We might have not observed that why these people, maybe person passed away, like this Riklam, we just, because the understanding, because he is the torchbearer of the Vaishnava's tradition, next generation, he has to take all these things. There may be some understanding, there may be some divine command we don't understand. Immediately, so Ramanuja uttered three mantras. He says, first thing, so I just, as if, is I say, in just Christ life, you say, I say unto you, Andamadri, just, is a proclamation. He says, I just remaining always in the fold of Vaishnavism, I shall protect the people deluded by ignorance, bestowing upon them the Pancha Samskaras, making them versed in the Dravida Vedas and devoted to the religion of surrender by making refuses of Sriman Narayana. The moment he uttered that, it's a basic tradition, I'll see that everybody should follow this, the Vaishnava tradition. I'll make them understand that, their sole refuge is only Sriman Narayana. Immediately when he uttered this, you see, one finger became straight. See, understand, you see? Then immediately, second mantra he said, Sangruham Nikilan Arthan Tatvajnana Param Shubham Sri Vashyam Chakarishyami Jana Rakshani Tuna. In order to protect the people, taking into consideration all the interpretations so far the Acharyas have done, I will write a beautiful bhasha where a common man also can practice these doctrines. So I will write the Sri Bhashyam, which will be usher in good and establish the knowledge of reality. So I will write the Sri Bhashyam, then the second finger also. Then immediately I uttered another mantram in order to pay off the debt of the gracious Parasara Muni. When he says, the third, this finger also. So, when these things are there, automatically he has to fulfill all these three things. When he has to write the Sri Bhashyam, because it took some time, it is not that immediately not possible. So, if somebody said, simply you cannot write the Sri Bhashyam, you have to refer a Grantha, you have to refer a book called, Bodhayana Vritti. See, in those days, India is something, even now India is a Punya Bhumi only. So people everywhere, reading the scriptures, the treasure trove, entire India is the treasure trove of a lot of spiritual knowledge. So if I has to write this, the Sri Bhashyam, somebody said, definitely you need to refer a book called, Bodhayana Vritti. Then there is only one copy of it because they are Shrutis. It's not that somebody has written a typed and, stored in the cold cloud and all, and the madri illa. Ipo only cloud la vekkirathu, somewhere we are keeping it. There is only with those days only clouds only. Cloud is not there actually. So where to keep, the Shruti after listening, you have to keep it. Other at the most, maybe some palm, Talapatra Grantha, that's all. And the Bodhayana Vritti, there is one Talapatra Grantha is available in the Sarada Pita in Kashmir. Immediately then and then they start walking to the Sarada Pita, Kashmir. It took 3 months or 4 months. Then after going there, somehow they found the Bodhayana Vritti. And these scholars, they have their own pride. These people, always they'll have some pride. No, we don't want to give. They don't want to give this. But, along with this seminar, this Ramanujacharya, so Kuresha Alvar also went. So when they were there, Kuresha, not Alvar, Kuresha one disciple. So when they were there, maybe the Alvar also, Kuresha Alvar ekkara. Kulasekara ekkara, Kuresha. So, Ivaru, Kuresha. So, Ivaru on the last 3 days, and whole night he by hearted. whole night. See, அந்த காலத்துல memory power also is ஜாஸ்தி. இப்போ diversions எல்லாம் இருக்கிறதுனால நமக்கு ஞாபகம் இல்லாம போயிட்டு இருக்கு. 3 days then, Ramanuja was telling what to do there. They don't want to give that book, Bodhayana Vritti. But how will I do this? How will I read this Sri Bhashyam? Then it's the Guru's command, Yamunacharya's command that I should read the Sri Bhashyam. Then immediately Kuresha said, don't worry, last 3 days I just by-hearted. Even at this point of time, if you ask me to write, point by point I will write. Thanks. Then immediately Ramanujacharya felt so happy that they returned, and that is how he has written a Sri Bhashyam. And also, the purport of writing the Sri Bhashya is, I have to establish that the purport of the Vedas and the Vedanta is the attainment of liberation through worship and devotion. For all this, I shall begin writing Sri Bhashyam. See, the essence, the quintessence of the Vedas and the Vedanta, that you need to realize God. That realizing God can be not that in Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi Prajnanam Brahma, Ayamatma Brahma. All these Mahavakya, without the Mahavakyas, also through the devotion and through the worship and through the meditation also, you can realize the Paramatman. So that is why, to make them understand, that is why I am writing this Sri Bhashya. That is what the forward note he has written. So, he also written so many books, Vedanta Deepam, Vedanta Sangraha, Vedartha Sangraha, Gita Bhashyam, all these books he has written. So, now the main teaching of these Acharya is, surrender, Sharanagati, Prapatti, and also he promoted the worship actually. Even at Tirupati also, if you see, the worship in Sri Rangam, all these Vaishnava temples, when you see the puja procedures, all these things said by only Ramanujacharya. Even then, we are following all these things. And the Ramakrishna-Nanda, Swami Ramakrishna-Nanda, who is the founder of this Chennai Math, he is also, though he is from the Bengal, he has written a beautiful book on the life of Ramanuja, because he is fascinated the idea of the Prapatti and the Puja, because he is also the Sri Ramakrishna worship that we are doing in the Ramakrishna Math and temples, so written by him only. So he is so much fascinated that he has written a book on life of Ramanuja, the most classical book on life of Ramanuja. There is no such book we found. Of course, Madras Math has produced a very beautiful book, elaborated book, so written by Swami Ramakrishna in a bigger font, also with big references and photographs also, is a wonderful thing. So the surrender, ultimately what we need to learn from the Ramanujacharya is that, so Paramatma can be realized through worship and devotion to the Paramatma is very, very important. Then all the 18 points, the proportion, if you are this, you can this. If you give up this, you can get a taste of Paramatma. You love the devotees of the God, you love the Narayana. So all these things, when we remember, ultimately, so all his teachings can be boiled down to the one point that, the Prapatti, the Sharanagati is very, very important. So by Sharanagati, we will be able to realize the Paramatman. That Sharanagati can be done through the devotion and the meditation and the worship. That's what the great Acharyas have said that, So because the biggest complexes that we found in the Shankaracharya, after later times, not in those times actually. So it would be difficult to practice in those times, in the Ramanuja time. That is where Ramanujacharya has to come and simplify the teachings, so that everybody we can be practiced, the devotion and the Prapatti and the Puja and the Seva, all these things are very easy for us. Thereby also we'll be able to realize the Paramatman. That's what is main philosophy. So we are all fortunate to contemplate and listen to this. All the things is not that somebody is telling or somebody is listening, it's all just, sharing of Ramanujacharya's life and teachings, all some kind of meditation, Leela Dhyana. So we have all done this Leela Dhyana. So we will consider that today we are all blessed. So with this I conclude my talk. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.